engaged and you're not listening to the message from the residents and bringing that forward at a meeting, then you've wasted an election. So I think going that next step and seeing what's happening behind the scenes with some of these elected officials is important.
Yeah, I think probably a mix of both of those would be a good idea, just because not everyone pays attention during non-election times. So I think maybe once during the year and then one around election time.
And did you ever ask, and did you think about how you would select the topics presented in the forum?
So in regards to what would be discussed in the forums, I think the main goal of this project in general was kind of to see where people are lacking information, and clearly from the graphs they are. So I think it would be on more, obviously, to keep it unbiased, just basic government issues, things that people are bringing up throughout the with their government and nationwide as well, and just things that really call attention across the nation and that you often see bias with. It'd be a good place to bring up those same issues but without a bias.
Interesting. And the TV program you mentioned, do you have any thought what that would look like?
Go ahead, Professor. Let him have it.
I can do it. Well, I think that the forums kind of would be a basis for what we would do with this proposal of a TV show. But I think that the basis of all of these different programs is to promote unbiased information. So whether it's like with a forum on TV or anything, it would just be kind of the same kind of information, I think.
I know the league is in BCB. We've talked about this as well, just civil discourse as well. I think there's an effort. What's the constitutional, Debbie? What's the Constitution? Right, the Constitution Center, Philadelphia. Just in terms of civil discourse, in terms, I think it's nice to see that genuine integrity and aspiration from the students. Let's get the issues in front of the people and let the people make a decision. And part of that, clearly, civil discourse. I'm not as confident as we can generate unbiased, but at the very minimum, you can have a civil discourse and people may clear their bias. But what I'd like to invite, we at the town want to make, we're celebrating 350 years. We'd like our community to be a model American community. And for me, at least in my conception, the model American community where people put forward their ideas in if you will, in some way of a dispassionate way, and have an exchange of ideas. And again, as you suggest, let informed voters make a decision as to which way they'd like to take their community forward. What I'd like to do is issue an invitation to the participants in the group. The town is happy to sponsor these forums with the independent groups if the League of Women Voters was interested. I'd love to find a way to sponsor these community forums. Love to find a way to get a TV program. The town can be involved. We want to be impartial and we want to be unbiased, but I'd love to certainly offer at a minimum the town services, Mr. Arcaro, Mr. Thomas. I don't know if BCB would be interested, but I love the idea of providing community forums with your information, apolitical, as unbiased as possible. Forums, what are the issues confronting our community? And that's why I was asking, how do you generate the forum? What are the 3 or 4 or 5 issues? And one follow-up to this might be, and the town is happy to work with the students in the committee. What are the issues confronting our community? How do we generate one of these first committee forums? Maybe do the first one off election cycle, because it gets very heated in the political cycle. But if the students are interested, and I know Professor Tobin has I would love to follow up and really execute on these wonderful ideas you suggested. So if any of the students are interested, the town is happy, and then we obviously sit down with the league and BCB to see if there's a way for us to create these community forums. Again, what a wonderful way to create something very new if we can do that in the TV program. So certainly have my full commitment to work with the students and find funding to take this project forward and execute, on the recommendations you've put forward. Let me just ask the audience, the public here, I see Mayor Logan, people in the audience. Does anybody in the audience have any questions for the group here?
I don't have any questions, but I would have appreciated this group of very smart young people here coming forward with this type of thing back when I ran for office, because sometimes these things can get very heated, and you tend to say things that you don't really mean, and really all you want to do is do a good job and get some things done. But this situation you have here is fantastic, and I hope it doesn't disappear, because have some of your other classmates come on into it and keep it up. It's very nice what you're doing.
Wonderful. Well, listen, I can't thank you all enough for your participation. Greg, is Greg here today? Greg or Dave Thomas, would you guys, anybody who wants to participate, and please coordinate with Dave Thomas, and we'll coordinate with Jack Sakara and Bill Tobin. We'll send out an email, and people want to participate in creating and executing on your recommendations. We'd love to do it. But thank you so much. What a wonderful.
Another great job.
Thank you. Yeah, good. Wonderful. Well, listen, I can't thank you. I got to say, today's been a good day. We had a lot of community participation at the earlier Rye-Town Park meeting. This is community participation, and I'm now looking forward to more community participation from the Friends of Crawford Park, and who's going to make a presentation. Yep, please. Thank you.
I'm just going to let these guys filter out.
Okay, yeah, sure. Of course, it's a little bit of...
I'll get started.
he's on his way. He's going to be here at 9. He's going to be here at 9 o'clock.
Find him.
Sure.
Wait me 1 second, Laura. Just, perfect. Just for things to quiet down. Well, the Friends of Crawford Park has been a fantastic organization, community participant organization. Laura, why don't you introduce yourself and the Friends, and then go ahead and right on to your presentation.
Great, thanks. I'm Laura Klein. I'm the president of the Friends of Crawford Park. We're a nonprofit organization that basically stands to preserve and beautify Crawford Park, which is a 35-acre green space in Rybrook that stretches between Lincoln and Ridge Street. So we have some ambitious plans. I'm just going to talk about the plans for the year that we have, specifically in the spring. We've collected about $19,000 of community funds, and here's how we plan on spending them this year. We've already planted over $1,000 of new evergreens along the main drive and some on Jennifer Lane. We are revitalizing the Wildflower Meadow, which was beautifully successful about 3 or 4 summers ago. We're installing 2 new benches and a cluster of dogwoods and native shrubs near the wall in an area called the Sunset Site that we've adopted. And we are very happy with the over 3,000 daffodils that the town paid for last fall and we planted. Right now, if you've had a chance to look at them, they're at the peak of beauty.
Oh,
so
beautiful.
if you have a chance, you should drive by the park, because it's really amazing when you drive through and up the road. It's really gorgeous. So
Today was absolutely beautiful in the park, as
Yeah.
you can imagine.
It's really, really pretty. We're also planning on trying to plant some drought-resistant perennials in the front of that Ridge Street wall, so that when the daffodils die back, there'll be these nice, hardy plants that will last along the road and, without too much care. We're going to plant a row of hydrangeas inside the Ridge Street wall, so that when they get big, they'll pop over, and you'll see the color from the Ridge Street side as well as from the lawn side as you enter the park. And we're gearing up for our annual planting day. We have this every year, usually the Saturday after Mother's Day. So this is May 14th, and we're actively looking for volunteers to come and meet the Friends. We're a fun group of crazy gardeners that like to get our hands dirty and beautify the park. So
What time is that?
It usually gets started around 9:30, 10 o'clock. And
Saturday, May 14th?
Saturday, May 14th. And, we have extra shovels if you want to bring gloves and you're not afraid of earthworms. Come. And we just plant a lot of fun annuals that will last the whole summer in that sunken garden that's beside the mansion, that little round garden that you see. That was our first project that we started in the park. And this year, the first grade class at Ridge Street School are painting 45 birdhouses that are going to hang around the park. So that's going to be up for the spring and the summer. I think they're almost finished painting them. I think the Boy Scouts are going to help us hang the birdhouses around the park. And it'll be fun. It'll be a beautiful kind of temporary installment for the birds and for the kids to kind of understand what it means to protect habitat and get some artistic expression out as well. We are also hoping to recoup the $250 that we spent on that project through a Whole Foods community grant. So we also have a wish list of about a dozen other specimen trees to place in the park if and when we can find them. And we pay our independent landscaping crew about $4,000 a year to maintain these adopted areas that we have in the park. So your staff maintains the lawns and mows and does most of the work. But we have these areas like the sunken garden, the shade garden, and the sunset site that we have our own crews come in and really hand do. So that's what we spend. It takes a lot of money. So we're planning on 2 fundraising events this year. On September 17th, we are bringing Shakespeare to the park.
Oh, beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we're really excited about this. We'd love to get the town of Rye to become co-sponsors of the event, hopefully. We've already secured a date and reserved the mansion, so we have that secured.
Is it in the mansion itself, or?
Well, we want to do it on the green, on the lawn,
yeah, exactly.
right out there. But if it does rain, we only have a one-shot deal because of all of the scheduling issues with the troupe that's coming in from New York, as well as the mansion and how booked up it gets. So we will try to pull it inside if we have to. But ideally we're rehearsing, and I'm not rehearsing, but they are rehearsing to do this outside as a beautiful park festival. So hopefully it's the first time.
That's great.
We're going to try to start small, but we would love to get your help for insurance reasons, as well as if there's any discretionary funds you could use to support the event. That would be great.
Do you have a sense of how much we're talking about?
Not that much. I mean, the woman who's producing it was like, we can really do this. She's producing, directing. She's going to cover the expenses of the warehouse space to rehearse in the city. But she was thinking that we shouldn't even need mics, that the actors should just project their voices. I'm kind of scared about that, and I'd rather have some lights and some sounds. So.
Well, I love the idea. In fact, it's.
I would say $1,000 would be great to cover those expenses.
I'm confident we can find that money for that.
Great.
In fact, did you want to say something, Mr. Rodney?
No, I just wanted to say that we were at the last Friends of Crawford Park meeting, and our feeling is that we can support them with some staff time, certainly, to help in terms of how the grounds are set up and maintained for that event. They certainly have the mansion, and we can provide other logistical support for them.
Wonderful.
Right. We'll have to hire police, I think, one police that night to help with anything that happens, but we'll take care of that. We're also planning our 7th annual 5K race on October 2nd, and we're hoping for a great turnout this year. We've been competing in the past with this breast cancer walk, which is on the same weekend, so we moved it up to October 2nd instead of the 3rd Saturday or Sunday of the month. So hopefully that's going to not have 2 people touring at once, and everyone can come and do both races. So the park is a passion for us, the Friends of Crawford Park. We realize that the supervisor and the board all run very busy lives, but I feel that I need to remind you that Crawford Park is a beautiful place that brings joy to the lives of many. It's great to be able to have community people walk up to you and say, my father loved this park. He died, and I want to plant a tree, for him, in honor of him. And unfortunately, some of the trees have died because there's no water. The watering situation has been an issue in years past, and I've been talking to Frank, and I think hopefully this year we've got it all resolved. The water tank is there. So we'll start a new year afresh and new, and hopefully that this won't happen again.
Can you just help me understand the water situation?
The water situation is the plants we were planting weren't getting watered, and it was a very, very hot summer last year. So we lost about 6 or 7 trees last year.
Okay.
And one was especially bitter because this was for a person who had died, and they were.
It's obviously.
Now there's a dead tree.
Yeah, of course. Frank and Bishop, if we can stay on top of the water situation, and Laura, if you just, Bill's Deputy Supervisor Villanova is the liaison to the park, and myself, keep us posted, and if you see any worry, let us know immediately, okay? So we you're right. We can't plant trees and shrubs in the park and have them die on us. That's unconscionable.
Right.
And it won't happen again.
And I believe, Bishop said that we will try to make good on this one tree that died, that the town.
So we just gotta stay on top of it if we can.
Okay, great. And I see that there's some progress at what we're calling the Gateway area, which was the front parcel of land. I was up there today, and it looked like Zick and his crew were starting to spread the dirt. Very good. That was, we've been very patient in waiting for that to happen, and we can't wait to see some green grass there. And then after that, we're going to put some really low-maintenance plants up there, some trees and some shrubs that will look nice, and we'll take it from there. So.
Well, I can't thank you enough for all the hard work you do, Laura, and the Friends of Crawford Park. It's a real, obviously, boost to the community, and I think, Frank DeLeo has worked very hard to, coordinate and make things, and Bishop Nowotnik as well. Please, let us know if there's anything we can do to make things better. One thing is, do we have an overall plan for the park? You mentioned the different segments. Do you guys have an overall visual plan or landscaping plan for the park?
We have, we've met as a horticultural committees, have met a couple of times, and we have, these bullet points for what we want to do this year. Overall, so do we have, a 5-year plan? I think this is what we were talking about. We do. We have something that we met with you several years ago, how we want to, redo the other side of the wall that's crumbling in the middle of it. We still have those, those
what I'd like to do is maybe Deputy Supervisor Villanova, Mr. Nowotnik, Mr. Leo, myself, I'd love to get together with you, and let's just revisit that 5-year plan, and then let's let's just revisit that.
Nature happens, and we had the horrible storm last March, and so we kind of shifted gears a little bit, and we had this restoration fund, and we gathered about $3,000 from the community to replant trees, the 26 trees that we lost. These were old growth trees.
Right.
We can't replace those, but part of that effort, that was the 10 evergreens that we planted. That's starting to happen. Last fall, we were still kind of, scared about planting, and we didn't really pull it together. We should have planted a lot more in the fall this year, but this spring we're going to kind of hit the ground running and get a lot more.
Well, like the Shakespeare in the park idea, that's just a wonderful idea. And we, in the earlier meeting tonight at Rytown Park, again, there was a citizens committee looking to promote increased attendance to the park. Now, the Crawford Park is mega used. I don't think we need to promote usage, but I do think potentially, some of those kinds of ideas of Shakespeare in the park, the concert.
It's also, selfishly, it's a good promotion for the Friends of Crawford Park itself. When we can get out, people are going to, everyone goes to Shakespeare in the park in Hudson Valley or, up to the city. But this is a great way for local families to stay local and to get our name out there so that
and maybe
people
the
know
concerts.
who we are.
In terms of, if we think creatively about the usage and where we want to take the park over the next several years, I can't thank you enough for your support.
Great. I also wanted to applaud you guys for removing a lot of the stumps that were along the roadway. I noticed that was happening this spring as well. So
wonderful.
That's good. I know you guys do a lot of maintenance, and we get to take care of all the pretty stuff, and that sometimes doesn't get acknowledged. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks so much for your presentation. Thank you,
Thanks,
Laura.
Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Okay.
Independence Day.
Independence Day. Mayor Logan, I'm guessing you're here for the Independence Day committee.
I am, sir. I appreciate it. We have, this will be the 64th consecutive year in which this program is being put on.
You've done it every year? All 64?
I can't take credit to that.
Don't let him beat you, Mayor.
I've only done this now for, maybe 10 years, and I'm exhausted already. But But we have a good small committee, but we work hard at it. Our mailings will be going out probably this coming week. And just a quick on the program this year, it seems to get better every year, even with the same program. You know, the children with the things they do in the school, and the winners come down and get their you know, their trophies and all that. I mean, that's a major thing there. It really is. And matter of fact, Nancy on our computer at home has a beautiful picture with all those kids getting their things, and and some of our grandkids were there, and they're all in the picture. So I look at it every day when I go on the computer. But so that's a very important part of the program. We're very, very pleased to have the Westchester Brassmen come back and entertain this year, and they say it's going to be a fabulous program. And the Grucci obviously does a fabulous job, and you know, and that's our biggest expense every year, obviously, with the
Brassmen. They're doing it. There's pro bono, right? The Brassmen?
The last 2 years it has. Now the head of it called me, and like a lot of bands, and I've heard this many times lately, with the uniforms and equipment. So he said, we're going to have to make a charge this year. And so I said, what's the charge going to be? And fortunately, I was able to bring it down a bit and to be more within our budget. And so, but to have them on the field, I mean, if anybody that was there last year knows that that was a fabulous program they put on. Grucci speaks for themselves. Right. And I think probably 90% of the people there enjoy the program, but they're waiting for those fireworks, and we never disappoint them. And this is my third village. I've been to the village of Portchester. I've been to Rye Brook. And they saved the best for last, so I'm here before the town of Rye tonight. And anything you can do to help us, I know you've always worked hard. I know the budgets are tough this year. Fortunately, Rye Brook and Portchester have been able to come through for us the same as last year. I'm not asking for anybody to. So
I think we'll do the same. We're all set to do the same as last year as well.
Well, I think that Mr. Mayor, and Supervisor Carvin, we did budget for the Independence Day Committee, and it was reduced from last year. But I think that it would be safe to say that we should be in a position to support them with probably $3,000.
Okay.
That would be tremendous. I mean, if you're able to do that, that really this way I'm trying to get our budget to see, and I think we're going to carry through okay, but it helps to know in advance so that we don't go over our budget and then you know, but I do appreciate
well, there's two things. Now, do you do an essay contest?
That's the one with the children.
Right. And how does that, what is the question that the kids answer?
Let's see, this year it's, Nancy came and we approved it. It's an interesting one where the children can use their thoughts, and it's about what do you think about this day or something like that. And so rather than, you know, Goldie likes to, but this year I think we outvoted her. So, but and hopefully the kids come out. See, that's the things. A lot of them aren't because they're on vacations or things with their families. But the ones that come down on the field, I mean, that makes the whole night right there. I mean, it's and then having them sing some songs and things like that. So, you know, we're looking forward to, as long as the weather's good, and hopefully it will be. I think we're going to have another great.
Well, because you know, if I could make a small suggestion, you might have one or two of the contest winners read their essays. I presume it's related to July 4th. One of the things we're working on here at the town is the model American community, right? So maybe next year, you know, I'd love to see the kids. What do they think a model American community looks like? You know, on 4th of July. Yeah. But you know, one of the things is, you know, as the politicians get up to speak, you know, and of course you say the only thing between the fireworks and the people in the stands is us. So obviously after about 5 seconds they're ready for the fireworks. But it might be great to hear from the kids. there's some of the, maybe select 2 or 3 of the essays, maybe have the kids read them.
Well, because we wind up with them in our home, so we can bring some of those with us that
Oh, I
day.
see, yeah.
And the children that are there, we could pick a few from each of the
Right.
groups and have them come out there and read
Read them, yeah, I was just going to suggest
Some
that.
of them are just pictures and things like that, but the ones that are actually written out, it
Yeah.
would be nice to have.
It'd be nice to see the kids, yeah.
Yeah, and I think hopefully they get a kick out of that. I hope that
Sure.
kids don't get scared about anything.
No, I know. And the other thing I just want to do is I can't thank you enough for all you do in our community. I mean, the Columbus Day Parade
Well,
every year.
that's coming up
the
right
4th
after
of
this.
July,
Yeah.
to come here and ask these different boards for money, it's not easy. And, I got to tell you, I've been going to the high school for, not all 64 years, but for probably 50 of them.
Yeah.
And to sit out on that lawn is one of the
Oh.
4th of July traditions in Portchester, and to lose it would be a real tragedy. So I can't thank you enough for all that you and Nancy do for the community, and particularly to maintain that wonderful tradition. I guess it'll be 233 years of the United States of America this time.
Yeah, but as long as my legs will get me there, and I keep going, but I appreciate the comments, and I'll share this with Nancy because I like to get home now because she's getting over that surgery and everything, but
Okay.
she's doing very well.
Oh, wonderful,
So
wonderful.
This way I can get home and check on her. So
Perfect.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Mayor. Thanks so much. Thank you for all you do.
Very good. That being said, Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion that we support the Independence Day Committee in the amount of $3,000.
Can I get a second? Actually, we don't have an official meeting yet.
Oh, you're right, you're right.
Sorry, let me
Very good.
take a
Thank
couple
you.
steps back. Mr. Gill, how's your wife?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for making the effort to come tonight. I know it's a difficult day for you. So I guess, Hope, can we now officially call the meeting to order?
Right. The meeting is now called to order.
Take the
Crawford,
roll. Yep.
Present.
Mendocino, Nyors, Villanova.
Yes.
Corbin.
And both Councilwoman Mendocino and Councilman Norris were away on business this week. I think this is the first time it's happened that we've only had 3 members. We generally have a full team. We're glad that your wife's doing better, and we now have a quorum, so we actually can vote on the more formal portion of the meeting tonight. I guess with that, why don't we start with the approval of the minutes? Does anybody have any comments on the minutes from either of the 2 meetings? Can I get a motion to approve both sets of minutes then?
No moved.
Second.
Okay. Gelfard.
Aye.
Mendocino, Nyors, Villanova.
Yes.
Corbin.
I don't think you have to call
Yeah, you just
people
called.
who aren't here.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll stipulate that there.
Will not be answered.
Okay, great. So now we go into our resolutions. The Southbury Avenue Bridge repair. Nardi?
Independence Day first.
What's that?
Independence Day.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
Can I, sorry, can Mr. Deputy Supervisor Villanova, do you
I
want
have
to
one
make that?
question before we move on that. Was there any, I believe last year we were in a position to afford a bit more than 3,000. Was there any discussion tonight about a
I
specific
think we
amount of
decided to
money?
keep it at 3,000.
Well, actually, Dave, good memory. We spent a little more last year, and being mindful of the budget, and still putting ourselves in a position where we can help the Independence Day Committee, I'm making a motion that we can support them with $3,000. It's less than last year, but I still think it's considerable.
Okay.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
So you want me to call?
Gelfard.
Aye.
Villanova.
Yes.
Corbin.
Thank you, Joe.
Southbury Bridge, Mr. Nardi, sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, after checking the references out for the bidders, we have chosen McNamee Construction Corp. for the Southbury Avenue repair project. McNamee was called to confirm their bid price, and they did confirm their price, and the price was $26,900. And that's you know.
For the record, Brian Smith, Ahneman, Kirby Engineering. Mr. Nardi had gone through all the references that were supplied by McNamee. I held a teleconference directly with the owner of McNamee Construction Corp., went through the scope of the work, and he assured me that they have full understanding of the project, and they stand by their number. They are the lowest bid. The second lowest bid did not submit all the required information. They were disqualified. And then going to the third, the separation of the price was large enough that we felt going with the lowest bid, McNamee is qualified, and that is our formal recommendation to this board.
I have a question, and since this is obviously a public job, do you think there's a necessity for a bond, or is the amount of the amount of the contract not really